What's up guys, Jeff from Sorta Healthy here. Today we'll be breaking down how you should get started as a personal trainer. If I'm being honest with all of you, I've covered this topic in various different videos already. That being said, I still see this question pop up time and time again on our personal training, different training Facebook groups, and even in the comments of my own videos. By the way, I do understand why this question is asked so much. Unlike most jobs, within training there isn't a perfectly clear path to take you from interested yet unskilled to skilled and successful. In fact, not only is there no clear path, I would argue that training has more gurus or people who would give you bad information to make a profit compared to just about any other profession. These gurus will offer you shortcuts or hacks to make this transition happen faster, but of course they always want some cash first. One of the reasons I started this channel was because I grew sick and tired of watching these guys prey on new and unsuspecting trainers. Certainly with in-person training, and even probably with online training too, there are no shortcuts to becoming good at your work. Sure, I can teach you some things that will help you avoid some of the mistakes that I made, but that's about it. So long story short, with this video I'll be breaking down what you should do step by step to get started as a trainer. There won't be any BS and I won't be selling you anything. Instead of asking you for money, all I ask is that you consider tapping that little thumbs up down there blue and subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Both of those things tell YouTube that this video is helpful, and then YouTube shares it with more people. Thank you for that support, everyone. It's very appreciated. Jumping into things now, I've broken down getting started as a trainer into 5 steps. These steps are in order of completion, but they're all equally important in my opinion. Before we start the 5 steps, let's talk about the 2 prerequisite things I think you need before you even begin on this journey. 1, you need to practice what you preach. You should have been physically active yourself for at least a few years before you even think about coaching anyone else. You should have at least a few years experience in basic resistance training, and you should have some understanding of other training modalities as well. 2, you need to be willing to learn and go outside of your comfort zone. Training is a very awkward job at times, especially in the beginning. It will take you a good while to learn things and become proficient at the job. If you aren't okay with being uncomfortable and in awkward social situations sometimes, this isn't the job for you. Now that we've covered the prereqs, step 1 to getting started as a trainer is shadowing other trainers. Now, why would shadowing other trainers be the first step? Well, for one, it's just good to see what others are doing. If you end up shadowing good trainers, there's no doubt that you'll use some of those techniques that you're seeing when you're the one doing the training. That being said, the main reason that you should shadow a few trainers before anything else is that there is a very good chance that training isn't for you. I don't know the exact stat, I doubt anyone does, but I often hear that most trainers, as in more than 50%, quit in their first year. Having been in the field for more than 10 years, I believe that that last statistic is probably true. The real question is, why do most trainers quit? I think there are a few reasons why trainers quit, but in my opinion the main one is that they just have no idea how the job actually works before getting started. Oftentimes they're going into things with totally unrealistic expectations, and when those expectations aren't met, they quit. So do yourself a favor before you do anything else and reach out to a few trainers and ask if you can shadow them over the course of a few sessions. In addition to watching them train clients, ask them about their hours, their pay, what they like about their job, and what they don't like as well. Ask them a whole bunch of questions early on. You may really regret it later if you don't. So assuming that you're okay with the hours, pay, and other aspects of training, after shadowing a trainer or two, the next thing to do is to get your AED, CPR, and first aid certification and a base personal training certification. To get your AED, CPR, and first aid certification, it's usually best to go to redcross.org. And then once you're there, you'll want to find a local class. Typically, these local classes only take an hour or two, and they're very easy to complete. Believe it or not, you can actually do your AED, CPR, and first aid course fully online now. I doubt you'll learn things quite as well this way, but I still think it's a good option to have. Once you've completed your AED, CPR, and first aid course, the next thing to do is to complete a base training certification. The point of the base training certification is to give you baseline knowledge. Obtaining any of these certifications will not make you a good trainer. Like I said before, all this certification will do is give you some baseline knowledge, and it will help you get a job. You'll learn some of the basics of human anatomy, communicating with clients, and other things too. The organizations that you'll want to choose from are NASM, ACE, ACSM, the NSCA, and possibly ISSA. Having been in the field for a long time now, I can tell you firsthand that none of these certifications are as good as they probably should be. That being said, at least one positive thing here is that they're all pretty easy to obtain. It's not like you guys have to go out there and get a 4-year degree, a 2-year degree, or even a license to get the ball rolling. All you have to do is study for a few months and then take a test. It really is easy to get started in this field. In terms of what certification is best, well, if I'm being honest, the differences really aren't that huge. The NSCA may actually have the best information in some ways when it comes to resistance training, but they don't really have courses for their certifications. It's really more of an old school book studying sort of a deal with the NSCA certs. And I don't think that that will be the best option for many of you. ISSA certification is the easiest to get since the test is open book. Their course is decent, but it's less respected by some employers. ACSM has a great reputation, but in my opinion, they're somewhat overrated. I just think in a world where certifications are already somewhat impractical, ACSM is quite possibly the most impractical and out of touch with what actually goes on in the field. In other words, they seem the most likely to teach you things that you won't actually use on the job. ACE and NASM are pretty similar and both are jack of all trades certifications. They're solid in most areas, but not great most of the time. Most of you will be best off with one of these two. Having recently gone through both of those two courses, NASM's course is currently better, but only by a small amount. At some point, I'll be putting out at least one video comparing and contrasting all these certifications in greater detail, but that should at least give you some idea of what's best for you. Where it stands now, though, I want it to be known that you need to get one of these certifications as soon as you know that you're serious about working in the field. Even though none of them are great, they will give you some good beginner knowledge which you can build upon throughout your career. Plus, they'll get you a job, and really that's what matters the most. After studying for a few months, taking your certification course seriously, and then passing the big test, the next thing to do and your third step is to get a training job. Some of you will be able to pass your certification course, walk up to the first gym you see, and instantly get a training job. All of that really comes down to how well you interview. If you've passed the certification course, you seem confident you can do well in the position, and you seem like a good social fit, as someone who hires trainers, you're going to get an offer. This being said, if you're lacking in one of these areas, you'll find it much tougher to get an initial training job. By the way, for those that need extra help with that, make sure to check out this video right here for more guidance. One thing you can do to improve your odds of getting a training job is more shadowing. Doing more shadowing looks good on a resume. It lets the person who's hiring you know that you're somewhat serious about the position and that you want to learn and get better. If you're shadowing for a while in my facility, obviously I'm more likely to hire you even if you didn't interview well initially. If you shadowed for a while in a different facility and now you're applying to my place, it still improves your odds of getting a job. So once you get a job, the next thing to do, and this is where I may lose some of you, is work for at least 1 year at that location. You can work at multiple locations at once, by the way. It all depends on you and your goals. Many of you will want to skip this step for one major reason, and that is money. Most entry-level training jobs don't pay that well. That is a fact. You can certainly make more money working for yourself as a trainer if you're skilled. There's a major problem with that last statement for you as a new trainer, though. You can certainly make more money working for yourself as a trainer if you're skilled. As a new trainer, you're not going to be skilled. All you're going to have, usually at least, is a meh certification, experience working out yourself, and maybe a little bit of experience training some friends or family members. You build actual skills in this line of work by getting in the trenches, coaching actual people, and learning techniques along the way. Any trainer who's been doing this for a while will tell you that experience is the best teacher. Certifications and continuing education courses can be useful, make no mistake, but you're going to learn more from doing the actual job almost every single time. So yes, your entry-level training job probably isn't going to pay you very well. I'm all for fair pay, but why should that first training job pay you a high wage? You don't have high earning skills yet. Within personal training, you develop those skills over a period of months and years. To be successful as a trainer, you almost need to look at that first year as an apprenticeship. You're figuring out how to use your newly acquired knowledge to sell yourself and get people great results. It will ultimately take you years to get even close to mastering your craft. If you look at that first year as a learning experience, and you go into each day ready to grow and improve, the sky is the limit for what you'll be able to achieve in the long run. So let's say you've worked through some awkward social moments, possibly questionable pay, odd hours, and you've been dealing with all of that stuff as a trainer for at least a year. What should you do now? Well, my fifth and final step is to do whatever the you want. Well, really my advice is to reevaluate what you want and then start making moves that get you closer to that goal, but that's basically the same thing. After you've gotten your AED, CPR, and first aid certification, your base training certification, and at least a year of training experience under your belt, you can basically move in whatever direction you want to in the field. Maybe you've done really well at that initial training job and you want to stay there. Maybe you want to go off on your own and start your own business. Maybe you want to do both of those things at the same time. Maybe you want to leave in-person training altogether and try online coaching. All of these things would be within your grasp at this point. Even better than that, now you're not just some poser on Instagram or something. You're someone that has the credentials and the experience necessary to start making some big moves. After about 2 years of training clients in facilities owned by others, I started up my own in-home training business. At one point, I was training clients in a private studio owned by someone else, a commercial gym, and in clients' own homes as well. I did that for years, and that blend of training clients in different environments made me a very solid trainer and business owner. Now I run my own private training studio and employ other trainers. But I would have never made it to this point if I had never done all of those other things first. If you can survive your first year of training, things will get easier and your odds of success will greatly improve. So work really hard early on and get those necessary things done, because they will absolutely pay off in the long run if you're serious about making a career out of training. So there we have it, my friends. That's how you should get started as a personal trainer. Do you agree or disagree? Make sure to let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I don't have all the answers, and I'm sure many of you will have useful things to say on this subject as well. But that being said, that's all that we have for today. If you haven't already, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, because both of those things do help the channel to grow, which does allow me to create more free content for all of you. Thanks for watching, everyone, and until next time, stay sort of healthy.